Update. My cousin's mad I don't want to date her cheater friend. Original post. Ran into my cousin and her friend at a party last weekend. Hung out with her friend most of the night and we got along. She's cute and she asked for my number and we started texting. Yesterday I was telling my friend about her and how we were planning a date, and he told me she'd been caught cheating on a boyfriend of hers a couple of years ago. I even reached out to that boyfriend and he confirmed it all. I asked her if this was true and she admitted she'd made a horrible mistake, but that she had grown and reflected. I don't really care though. I lost all interest in her once I knew what she'd done. So I told her it was best we cancel our date plans and look elsewhere. Now my cousin and her are trying to convince me that it was a one-time thing and that she's learned her lesson. But I could never be with someone who has ever cheated. Sucks too. I really liked her. But the damage is done. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Lol, she'll get over it. It's completely valid to not want to take that chance. Yeah, it just sucks. I actually believe she's sorry for what she's done, but that just isn't enough. Trust was broken before it had time to form. Would it have been different if she told you about it right up front? Or is it just a hard no regardless? Just curious. We all have our morals. Cheating is a 100% hard deal breaker for me. Yeah, this is understandable. Cheating is a big deal breaker in my opinion. There are so many people out there who haven't cheated. There is no reason to waste time with people who have. Second woman I've really liked up front, but found a deal breaker early on in only 3 months. Just glad it keeps happening early, I suppose, instead of me getting invested. What was the deal breaker for the other woman? Also a history of cheating? No cheating. We were getting along great and went on a few dates, but she then told me she was asexual and hoped I'd be okay with it. I wasn't. I have no interest in being in a sexless relationship, so I stopped seeing her. I will translate for your cousin. She has been single for 2 years, but sleeping with a bunch of dudes who were not interested in a relationship with her. You are the first guy who has thought about a relationship with her, and she thinks she is over all the random FWB and one-night stands. Well, she's an attractive woman and was fun to talk to. I'm sure she can find herself a guy other than me, no issue. Still don't understand why they are trying to make me that guy so bad. Mini update. So a few hours after I posted this, I started getting texts from 2 of my cousin and her friends also trying to convince me that it was no big deal. They were like character witnesses in a courtroom or something. Lots of claims that she really likes me and that I'm the first guy she's been interested in years. They're claiming she felt so terrible that she stayed single the entire time and has only recently been open to dating, and that I'm going to hurt her badly if I don't give her a chance. I feel bad, but also, this is bizarre in an almost funny kind of way. I don't know why they're fighting so hard for this. I'm just some guy she met at a party. I'm pretty average looking. Is there a shortage of tall, hairy, chubby men out there that has women dying of thirst? This is absurd. Now for the full update. So, for a few days, I entertained my cousin, Leah the girl who cheated, and a few friends pestering me because I was confused and amused by a bunch of women trying to force me to date someone. I'm not ugly, at least in my opinion, but I am not worth this amount of work to try and win over when I've already said no a dozen times. I sent my cousin the following text, and that seems to have settled the issue. Hey, I know you guys are just looking out for Leah, but you have to know that dragging this out and pushing me to date her when I don't want to is doing more harm than good for her. You're giving her false hope when I've been very honest with her, and you, that this isn't happening. Let's assume I do what you ladies want and go out with Leah. Let's even assume I fall for her and we get serious. I will spend the rest of my life with a nagging insecurity in the back of my head that she's going to do the same thing she did to Josh to me. I don't want a relationship where I can't even trust the person I'm with. And as my family, you should love me enough to not want that for me either. Just drop it, because I don't want my relationship with you to suffer because of this. Please just respect my wishes and let it go. She replied with, understood. End of discussion then. Love you. Leah sent me a text. I'll respect your wishes on this. If you ever change your mind, know that you're a great guy and I'd still be open to giving us a shot. But this is the last I'll mention it, unless you do change your mind. So that's it. It's over. I have no idea why I was being harassed about this, but I'm no longer getting texts about it, so I'm moving on. Now, if I can just find a woman who hasn't cheated or isn't a closet asexual, that would be great. Head held high, dude. Good answer. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to write it out. That was probably draft 7 or 8 because I'm so used to most of my texts being goofy or dumb in some way. I'm not so good with serious stuff. You're a freaking legend, my guy. Shut it down, held the line, dodged a walking red flag, and stayed respectful. King behavior. While what they did is wrong from my perspective, I do believe they had her best interest at heart. I also believe that Leah is a good person who deserves a chance at love and happiness. I'm just not that guy for her, because I can't get over that insecurity that would inevitably grow in me. I think she's changed and truly regrets her past actions. I was tempted to lash out at one point, but that wouldn't do anyone any good, so I tried to just keep it clean for everyone's sake. She's a beautiful woman with charm to spare, so I doubt she'll have trouble finding someone else with very little effort. I'm not her last chance at love or anything. Next story. Update. Am I wrong for how I handled a prank my brother's fiancé pulled on me? Original post. So I know this isn't as dramatic as some of the posts here, but I'm curious for your opinions. My brother, 29 males, fiancé, 24 female, has been trying to prank me, 23 male, forever. I don't get startled easily, so she has decided on her own to take up the challenge of being the person who successfully scares me. I never prank her back, but sometimes I'll play along with her attempts. She doesn't do this often. Previous pranks include hiding behind a door, car, or in a closet, and jumping out at me, so it's never anything elaborate. They've been together 3 years. I've never had any problems with them, but she tried to prank me last night and now my brother is upset about it. Both my brother and his fiancé are currently crashing at my apartment because they are in the process of moving into their first home in my city. The prank? She hid under my bed while I was out for a run in the evening. When I got back, before I went into the shower, I was at my bedside table taking my watch off and dropping it on the charger. The room was dark except for my lamp, so I didn't notice anyone under my bed. She touched my foot. It was a really light graze, so it didn't register with me. I stepped back and squatted down so I could see under there a little. It was dark, but I could see long hair. A part of me just knew it was her because no one else would do this. I said something like, her name, I can see you under there, but who's the other one? This scared her. In her panic, she struggled to get out from under the bed, all while asking me, what do you mean? She scrambled out and slammed into me. She also screamed, which made my brother come into the room. She was in my arms. I take it this is why he's mad. I tried to explain I was just messing with her because she was clearly trying to prank me. He thinks I'm flirting with his fiancé, and apparently this has been going on for a while since these pranks began. I told him the pranks are his fiancé's idea, and he should be having this conversation with her, not me. It's been really awkward between us now. I have 2 more weeks with them. I feel like they're both blaming me, and it's unfair. Should I apologize? But for what? I feel like I'm owed the apology. Am I being an a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Show them both the door out of your house immediately. Seriously, that level of boundary crossing isn't a joke. It's a red flag. If she's pulling stunts like that now and he's defending it, they both clearly have no respect for you or your space. Hope he isn't flirting with brother's fiancé, but she sure as heck is. And brother dear has started to notice that too. But that's something he should discuss with his wife-to-be and not the victim of her harassment. Stumbling to find yourself in your crush's arms who strongly hold you is such a cheesy rom-com trait. Not the a-hole. So it's okay for his girlfriend to constantly prank you, but the one time you turn it around on her and all of a sudden you're the bad guy? Your brother should have put a stop to this a long time ago and stopped enabling his girlfriend's crappy behavior. Tell him that she is no longer allowed in your home, and frankly, he should not be either until both of them learn how to be actual adults. It honestly feels like she told him a version of events to save her own butt that's made him develop a misunderstanding or grudge against me. I don't know what it is though, because he's giving me the cold shoulder until I apologize. But I have nothing to apologize for, shaking my head. Now for the update. I spoke with my brother privately, since his feelings are more important to me. He said this all came out because ever since they moved into my apartment, his fiancée has been making comments about how I maintain my place, handle chores, the cooking I do for us, how I'm quick to fix things, that I make furniture. I do that for a living. Random things like that. He felt she was comparing us, and her comments started to build up. He apologized for directing his frustration at me instead of communicating with her, which he then turned around and did. I don't know how that went. She refused to apologize to me initially because she claims I have flirted with her too, but she couldn't come up with a single example of the behavior. It doesn't exist. As straightforwardly as I could, I made it clear to both of them that I am not interested in her, and if she can't apologize, she can leave. I entertained the pranks before because they were harmless, but they're off the table now. I didn't have a rule about going into my room. I only told them to knock first if I was in there. Today she approached me to apologize. I told her I know it's insincere, but I'll accept it because I love my brother. I hope they break up. She refused to apologize to me initially because she claims I've flirted with her too, but she couldn't come up with a single example of the behavior because it doesn't exist. If her pranking you was flirting, then I'm guessing she thought you pranking her back was also flirting. I think so too, but her pranks were premeditated, and my response was just my reaction. I did turn the tables, and I found it amusing, but outside of that just being my personality, I've never actually pranked her. I won't play with her moving forward. I'm going to keep interactions short, leave no room for misunderstanding. She's just putting blame on you to take the blame off herself. You're probably just a charismatic guy with a playful or good sense of humor, and if you're attractive, she's probably into you. So she wishes you were also flirting, because that's what she was doing. Like, she didn't have to crawl into your arms when you scared her. She did that on purpose. Your brother should reconsider this relationship. She's going to put him down even more when they're married, and she doesn't seem that loyal. I thought you would update. I asked you originally how long she had been hiding under your bed while you were out, and you mentioned that your brother had been gaming. I judged your brother on not even knowing where his fiancée was because he was too interested in his gaming. I was wrong. I feel really bad for him. If she is banging on at him constantly about how much you do around the house where chores are concerned, how you cook for them, how you fix things, etc., it means that he has been feeling inferior for a while. Not your fault, obviously, because you are just taking care of your own home and taking care of your guests. Can you imagine what his life will be like when they find their own place? She sounds like she will expect him to do everything. The fact that she basically admitted to flirting with you is enough of a reason for him to reconsider their relationship. I think he's halfway there already. She is a nightmare. The comments she's made are apparently new and only started when they moved into my apartment, based on my conversation with my brother. He feels like a lot of it is probably due to us being in close quarters and the general disruption of their routines. My brother struggles to adapt when he loses his routine. They're living out of boxes. They're short with each other and stressing out about their move. There were also some maintenance issues with their house that needed to be addressed before they could obtain occupancy. I got a bit more of a clearer picture after he opened up to me. He did apologize, and I know he means it too. My understanding, however, doesn't extend to her. I think she's immature. My brother is the one taking on most of their tasks, and to hear that she's been criticizing him ticked me off. I think he's started feeling burnt out, and gaming is something that allows him to escape and decompress. He might have been isolating, and that ramped up her boredom, so she decided to focus on pranking me. That part's a guess, though. Oh, and for what it's worth, my brother tends to be really slow with decision-making, so even if he sees the flaws in her that I've brought attention to, he's the type of person who is going to turn the same thoughts over 1,000 times before he does anything about it. So I'm staying out of the relationship side of things. Last story. Am I the a-hole for leaving my boyfriend's friend group chat after they kept joking about me? So I, 19 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 21 male, for about 6 months now. A few weeks ago, he added me to his group chat with his close friends because we were all going to meet for a trip they were planning. At first, it was chill. They were welcoming and all, but then the jokes started. It started off small, like calling me Miss Influencer when I'd post selfies, or saying stuff like, "Oh, she's high maintenance," when I mentioned I liked getting my nails done. I laughed it off, even though it made me kinda uncomfortable. But then one of them sent a meme about girls who trap guys and tagged me in it like, "Yo, this you?" And everyone reacted with laughing emojis. I didn't even know what to say. The thing is, I don't even post anything that crazy online. I mean, I try to look cute, sure, but I don't think I give off that vibe. You can probably see what I mean. I asked my boyfriend in private if he could maybe say something because it was getting kinda disrespectful, but he said, "They're just joking, don't take it personal." So a few days ago, I just quietly left the group chat. Didn't make a scene or anything. Now some of them are calling me too sensitive, and my boyfriend says I made it awkward for him with his friends. But like, if I don't feel comfortable, isn't it okay to just step away? Am I the a-hole for leaving the chat? Not the a-hole. It doesn't bode well for a relationship if your boyfriend can't or won't step in and is already brushing off your valid feelings. It doesn't matter if they're joking, if it makes you feel uncomfortable or like they're piling on you, which it sounds like they are. You're under no obligation to stay in a group chat where a group of dudes are consistently dunking on you and showing disrespect. Keep in mind that a great way to judge the character of someone is based on the company they keep and/or whether they call people out on their BS. Yeah, that's exactly my opinion. I'm honestly usually joking all the time too. I don't get offended easily at all, but damn, this is too much. It's constant, and I guess this is why he thinks it's not too much. Your boyfriend's indifferent reaction to his friend's behavior shows there's a side of him you're not familiar with. And in those aspects, he's not much different from his a-hole friends. Not the a-hole. Life is nicer when you get away from a-holes. Facts. Cutting off toxic people is peace, not loss.